Hello, students and fellow researchers. Today, I am going to present to you a hypothetical multivariate study that requires statistical analysis for the relationship between 6 independent variables and 8 dependent variables, or 48 relational analysis. The title of the study sounds very simple: the relationship between socioeconomic status and rating for most outstanding students. The complexity of the topic is in the fact that socioeconomic status and rating for most outstanding student are both constructs which do not have direct quantitative measures. Socioeconomic status is described by social status and economic status, which are likewise constructs, while rating is indicated by four concepts: scholarship, leadership, service, and character. In summary, socioeconomic status, the independent variable, has 6 indicators with direct quantitative measures, and rating, the dependent variable, is indicated by 8 empirical variables with direct measures. The 6 independent empirical variables and the 8 dependent empirical variables would involve the computation of 48 magnitudes of relationship, 48 t-tests of significance of relationship, and 8 sextuple regression models. But such relationships are not causal. That is why I call this analysis as Quasi SEM, or almost SEM. Its complexity is shown in the following diagram. But the calculations will not require the use of any of the following: IBM, SPSS, AMOS, Lisrel, or EQS. To analyze the data based on the statements of the problem, Excel will be sufficient. This is the general problem. Is there a relationship between the construct socioeconomic status of the students and their rating for the most outstanding student award? Another construct. We can divide this general statement of the problem into two. Is there a relationship between the construct social status of the students and their rating in scholarship, leadership, service, and character? And is there a relationship between the construct economic status of the students and their rating in scholarship, leadership, service, and character? The specific problems are: is there a relationship between a student family's number of officerships in civic organizations and the 8 indicators of the dependent variable? Is there a relationship between a student family's number of memberships in civic organizations and the 8 indicators of the dependent variable? Is there a relationship between a student father's income and the 8 indicators of the dependent variable? Is there a relationship between a student mother's income and the 8 indicators of the dependent variable? Is there a relationship between a student family's monetary value of movable properties, and the 8 indicators of the dependent variable? And is there a relationship between a student family's monetary value of immovable properties and the 8 indicators of the dependent variable? For this study, these are the constructs or the variables which do not have direct measure: socioeconomic status, rating for most outstanding student, social status, economic status, scholarship, leadership, service, and character. And these are the empirical variables or the variables with direct measures. The independent variables are number of officerships in civic organizations, number of memberships in civic organizations, father's income, mother's income, monetary value of movable properties, and monetary value of immovable properties. For the dependent construct, these are the empirical variables or the variables with direct measures: number of awards received, general weighted average, number of officerships in organizations, number of completed projects, number of memberships in organizations, number of projects participated, number of commendations, and number of favorable feedbacks. Once again, I am showing to you the relationship and regression diagram. The research design of this hypothetical study is cross-sectional sample survey design. The research strategy is survey. The type of sample is probability sample. That is why we can proceed to inferential analysis. And the statistical analysis tools are: for the magnitude of relationship between number of officerships in civic organizations and the 8 dependent construct indicators, we shall use Pearson R. For the magnitude of relationship between number of memberships in civic organizations and the 8 dependent construct indicators, we shall use Pearson R. For the magnitude of relationship between the father's income and the 8 dependent construct indicators, we shall use Pearson R. For the magnitude of relationship between mother's income and the 8 dependent construct indicators, we shall use Pearson R. For the magnitude of relationship between monetary value of movable properties and the 8 dependent construct indicators, we shall use Pearson R. For the magnitude of relationship between immovable properties and the 8 dependent construct indicators, we shall use Pearson R. For the test of significance of relationships, we shall use t-test of R. For forecasting the value of the 8 empirical dependent variables, we shall use multiple or sextuple regression. All the statistical analysis shall be facilitated by Excel. For sampling, sample size formulas shall be programmed and protected in Excel. Random sample element selection shall be done using sampling from analysis toolpath in Excel. For the magnitude of relationship, we shall use Pearson R in Excel. For the significance of relationship, the critical t-value in Excel shall be used. For the statistic t-value, we shall program the formula in Excel. For the multiple linear regression, regression in analysis toolpath in Excel shall be used. This is now the Excel sheet showing the hypothetical data, magnitudes of relationship, and significances of relationship between the 6 independent variables and the first dependent variable. This is the Excel sheet showing the hypothetical data, magnitudes of relationship, and significance of relationship between the 6 independent variables and the second dependent variable. This is the Excel sheet showing the computations for the magnitudes of relationship and significances of relationship between the 6 independent variables and the third dependent variable. This is for the fourth dependent variable. This is for the fifth dependent variable. For the sixth dependent variable. For the seventh dependent variable. And for the eighth dependent variable. The aforementioned are 48 magnitudes and significances of relationship computed in and through Excel. Following shall be the 8 computed sextuple linear regression models. This is for the first dependent variable. The model was computed using regression in analysis tool. This is for the second dependent variable. This is the computation for the third dependent variable. For the fourth dependent variable. For the fifth dependent variable. For the sixth dependent variable. For the seventh dependent variable. And for the eighth dependent variable. To most researchers, these statistical analyses are complex. The correlated constructs, socioeconomic status, and rating for most outstanding student are multivariate. We solve 48 magnitudes of relationship, 48 significances of relationship, and 8 sextuple linear regression models using just Excel. The problems, while multivariate and complex, do not need a specific structural equation modeling, inasmuch as they are not really designed for SEM. In fact, they are non-causal. Perhaps they are almost SEM, or as I termed it, quasi-structural equation modeling. Thank you for viewing and listening.